Welcome to this week's weekly Pan-African News Roundup on the Kente Business Journal. Here we serve you with all the major news headlines across Africa and the African diaspora. My name is Rahel Akosia-Redwa Opuk.
In the headlines, earthquake in Turkey and Syria causes death of over 25,000 people. And Gemalto targeted by judicial investigation for corruption in Africa. And in sports, LeBron James becomes all-time top scorer in the NBA's league. Now the news in detail. Ghana is optimistic about concluding the ongoing negotiations with the International Monetary Fund to get the support of the fund by March this year. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo gave this assurance when he held discussions with the visiting German Federal Minister of Finance, Christian Lindner, last Friday at the Jubilee House in Accra. He said the main concerns of the government include the process of concluding talks with the IMF, as well as the specific assistance that would help Ghana fast-track the process of its economic recovery. Germany's finance minister was in Ghana for bilateral talks with the government and the business communities, and also to show Ghana of Germany's support to help the country out of its current economic challenges. Operatives of the Economic and Financial Commission in Nigeria on Monday arrested an operations manager of a commercial bank in Abuja Central area for holding the new banknote. The suspect was arrested by operatives of the commission for allegedly refusing to load the new note in the automated teller machines of the bank, despite having 29 million naira of the redesigned notes in the branch's vault. According to reports, Nigerians had been forced to sleep in various bank ATMs across the country to be able to withdraw a new banknote to buy foodstuff and other domestic products owing to the scarcity of the new currency note. The Central Bank of Nigeria had several times accused the officials of the commercial banks of hoarding the new currency note, insisting that the notes printed were enough and if properly distributed, there should be no scarcity. And in France, a judicial investigation by the National Financial Prosecutor's Office in Paris targeting government contracts concluded between the smart card manufacturer Gemalto, acquired in 2019 by Thales, and several African countries were opened in June last year. The investigation was opened for bribery of a foreign public official in an organized gang, aggravated laundering of bribery of a foreign public official, and association of criminals. According to Mediapart, the investigation concerns about 10 government contracts won by Gemalto between 2015 and the beginning of 2019, in particular on commissions affected to win these contracts through several intermediaries. The investigations will relate in particular to a contract of more than $46 million won in 2016 from the Independent National Electoral Commission of the Democratic Republic of Congo. They would also be interested in another contract won in 2017 in Senegal. Gemalto had concluded a contract with the government there for the manufacture of driving licenses and vehicle registration plates. Thales confirmed that its subsidiary had been given in October 2022 a judicial requisition to communicate documents and information in connection with contracts won by Gemalto before its acquisition by Thales in 2019. The group assured that they would cooperate fully with the judicial authorities in the context of the procedure. And in Egypt, the annual inflation hit a new high from January as the country continues to struggle with price increases and currency depreciation, according to Egypt's Statistics Bureau on Thursday. Egypt's economy has been hit hard by years of government austerity, the coronavirus pandemic, and the fallout from the war in Ukraine. Egypt is the world's largest wheat importer, with most of its imports traditionally coming from Eastern Europe. In December, Egyptian authorities and the International Monetary Fund agreed on a $3 billion bailout to ease the crisis. The IMF deal was made in exchange for Egypt implementing a number of economic reforms, including adopting a flexible exchange rate. The agreement also includes the possibility of additional funding of $14 billion for Egypt. On Wednesday, the Egyptian government unveiled plans to sell stakes in dozens of state-controlled companies, including banks and energy firms. And moving to Rwanda, the economy has been forecast to grow at a slightly slower pace this year before picking up speed again in 2024 and 2025. The Finance Minister Uziel Ndagijimana told Parliament on Wednesday the economy was forecast to grow 6.2% in 2023 and around 7.5% in 2024 and 2025. The country has a population of nearly 13 million people and a GDP of $10.3 billion according to the World Bank. The economy grew 6.8% in 2022 according to their finance ministry. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, the East African nation enjoyed strong economic growth, averaging over 7% GDP growth annually for over the last 2 decades. Ethiopia sent about $90 million to the Tigrayan capital to help restart banking services in the country. Prime Minister Abiy's National Security Advisor Ridwan Hussein announced on Twitter that the National Bank had started to send the money to the capital Mekelle for distribution from Monday. Ethiopian Airlines was also planning to increase the number of flights to the region. On Friday, the Prime Minister met for the first time with Tigrayan leaders since a peace agreement was signed in Pretoria in November after a violent conflict between the federal government and rebels in the northern Ethiopian region. Since the agreement was signed in the South African capital, fighting has ceased and aid deliveries to Tigray had resumed, as the region has long faced severe shortages of food, fuel, cash and medicine. The war, which broke out in November 2020, had displaced more than 2 million people, caused the death of about 500,000 and put hundreds of thousands in near starvation conditions, according to the UN. On Monday, a devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake rocked Turkey and Syria, causing the death of thousands of its citizens. Countless survivors have been rescued, even as the death toll hit over 25,000, with many more injured and displaced. The tremor ranks among the most deadly natural disaster of the century. On Thursday, the World Bank pledged $1.78 billion in aid to Turkey, including immediate finance for rebuilding basic infrastructure and to support those affected by the earthquake. Another donation came from the United States, which pledged a package of $85 million to both countries. Meanwhile, the efforts of 100,000 or more rescue personnel on the ground are being hampered by logistical hurdles, including vehicle shortages and devastated roads. A former Guinean Black Stars player currently playing for Hitaspor in Turkey is believed to still be under the rubble as efforts are being made to locate him. In sports, LeBron James is bagged in the surreal achievement of becoming the NBA League's all-time leading point scorer. The 38-year-old Los Angeles Laker has surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to become the top NBA scorer with a 38-point haul in his recent team's win over Oklahoma City Thunder. James finished the night with 38,390 career regular season points, 3 more than Abdul-Jabbar's tally of 38,387, a record that has stood since 1984. However, James said after his record-breaking night that he was in no mood to exit the stage yet and is confident he can play a couple of more years before retiring.
That's it for this week's Pan-African News Roundup on the Kente Business Journal. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notification bell to stay updated always. You can also follow us on our social media platforms. Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching this video. Please do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel Kente Business Journal TV and press the notification bell to stay updated always.